Hello, Americans and basketball enthusiasts, and by that I mean blacks for Trump, of course, not the other blacks, and whites who want to be black, which is a lot bigger group than I thought it was, but we're going to fight to get them back in 2028 for my third term. But I always saw Obama, who pretended to be a basketball player when everybody knew he was a big, skinny nerd. He was always, oh, I have my brackets, and everybody go, oh, Obama put brackets out. Well, guess what? Trump can do brackets too, and Trump can do brackets a lot better than Obama and all of his friends, okay? So, and first of all, basketball was invented in America by a white, okay? What the hell would a skinny Kenyan guy know about basketball? Not too much. Stick to the marathon runnings, Hussein. But we are doing NCAA tournament brackets just in time for today when they start, okay? Now I'm just going to run through, obviously just you follow along on a bracket, okay? This is what a bracket looks like if you're stupid. But we do left down, right down, and I just talk, and you'll know who I have winning, and it's a very strong choice, and maybe not the choice people expect, because I'm a great patriot and a strong American. You might be surprised by who I have winning, but it makes total sense. So I have Auburn beating Alabama State in the Battle of Can You Read? And then I have Creighton beating Louisville because Creighton, I think I've always seen them, they always seem to have good whites on their team. Not great whites like the Shark, but good whites. And then I have Texas A&M over San Diego in California because get the hell out of here, California. And then I have, oh no, excuse me, I have Michigan beating UC San Diego because Michigan is a Trump state. I have Texas A&M beating Yale, which is very upsetting to Brett Cauvin. I think he did an extra beer. Ole Miss over North Carolina. No offense, we like North Carolina, but we love the illiteracy, the obesity, and the stupidity of Mississippi. So let's go Ole Miss. Iowa State, I'm having them upset because Lipcom is, I just sort of like that name, Lipcom. And I have them winning. Then we have Marquette. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Marquette over New Mexico. Because if you've seen Breaking Bad, you know there's a lot of meth in New Mexico. And Marquette almost sounds like a black guy, but I know they're in Wisconsin, which is a Trump state. So we have Marquette winning. And then I have Michigan State beating Lane Bryant, okay, which for obvious reasons. You know, some of the blacks for Trump like the Lane Bryant bodies. I don't. So bye-bye Lane Bryant University. Then I have Florida beating Norfolk State, even though I like the name Norfolk. Florida is just, it's where I live. It's where I live. We gotta have them. And then Oklahoma beating UConn. Obviously, that's a Trump state over a radical left state. And Memphis over Colorado State. Now, Memphis was tough because they're in Tennessee, which is a Trump state, but they're sort of a black part, okay? But then I remembered MLK got shot in Memphis, so I said, okay, Memphis, you get the vote. I have Maryland, a radical left state, losing in an upset to the Grand Canyon because the Grand Canyon is huge. And in basketball, you know, you got to be big, got to have that height, and I don't think there's anybody taller than the Grand Canyon. And then Missouri, I have getting upset by Drake because I didn't like Kenneth Lamar at the Super Bowl. I thought it was a disgrace and disrespectful what he did, and I didn't understand what the hell he was saying. So I will always side with Drake, even though Drake is Canadian. This sort of proves that I'm not against all Canadians. I like Drake, I like Wayne Gretzky, and the rest of them can go to hell. So I have Drake with the upset. And then I have Texas Tech because I like TT. I call them TT University, and we like TTs. Over UNC Wilmington. And then I have Arkansas beating Kansas because Arkansas, that's like more Kansas than Kansas. So in the Battle of Kansases, I go with Arkansas, which is run by my great press secretary, Lazy Eye, from TLC. I think we called her Lazy Eye. And then I have St. John's over Omaha because we do very well with the Catholics for Trump. On the other side of the bracket now, starting with Duke, obviously Duke is winning in that first matchup against Mount St. Mary. Although I got to be honest, I like the idea of mounting St. Mary because usually saints don't let you do sex to them. But if you can mount St. Mary, that's a strong university. But I have Duke winning anyway. And then I have Baylor beating Mississippi State. So I have Duke and Baylor in the second round, which is a beautiful matchup of a fake sexual assault scandal versus a real sexual assault scandal. So who will win that one? We'll see. I have Oregon losing to Liberty University because of the strong Christian values of Jerry Falwell Jr. They'll be beating Oregon. Oregon will be gone. Bye-bye, Antifa University. That's what we call it. And then I have Arizona beating Akron, which is sort of like Sheriff Joe Arpaio beating LeBron James. Bye-bye. Michael Jordan's better. BYU versus VCU. They sound like health clinics. And I have, in a surprise, BYU beating VCU, even that, because it's sort of, Utah is a little more Trump, but they admit Romney. But VCU, which is very Trump, but it's in a state that went for Koala Bear Harris. So we go with BYU. And then in a battle of Wisconsin versus Montana, I'm going with Yellowstone, Montana. Then we have St. Mary's, which is weak. Okay? St. Mary's is weak because they're not letting you mount. I like Mount St. Mary's because it's sort of sexual. Whereas St. Mary's is sort of the prude university. There's no mounting. I have them losing to Vanderbilt. I'm going to change that. I had Vanderbilt losing, but I realized, Vanderbilt over St. Mary's. And then, of course, I have Alabama over Robert Morris, because who the hell is Robert Morris? You're going to go out against Alabama with one guy? In the last bracket, I have Houston. We don't have a problem. You're going to beat SIUE, which I think is like a union. So we hate them. And then I have Georgia beating Gonzaga. Once again, red state over blue state. Clemson beating McNeese. How the hell are you going to... McNeese? Is that like a HSBCU LMNOP? A black people school? I don't know. McNeese. Bye-bye, McNeese. You're losing to Clemson. And then in an upset, I have High Point beating Purdue, because High Point, when your name is High Point, you better do well, okay? Or else you're going to be Low Point University or college or whatever the hell you are. I have Charles Xavier from the X-Men beating Illinois because they can use strong mind talent. And then I have Kentucky beating Troy because, once again, Troy, one guy. These schools, they're sending one guy. Hi, what's your competition for the entire state of Kentucky? We sent a guy named Troy. Well, Troy's going to lose, and he's going to lose like a dog. And then UCLA versus Utah State. Obviously, that's another red state versus blue state. Bye-bye, UCLA. Utah State's going to kick the crap out of you. And then Tennessee versus Wilford Brimley University. And I have Tennessee destroying Wilford Brimley. Unless he gets one of the cocoons. Unless he touches one of the cocoons and gets that young energy. And now we're going to just run through the rounds, because you're probably saying this is funny, sir, but it's a little boring, and I agree. That's why I do strong tennis and golf and yachting, and not hoops, as they call it. Then I have okay, so let's just get, we go Auburn versus Texas. Those are the winners. I have Texas beating Michigan. I have Auburn beating Creighton. Lipcomb with another upset over Ole Miss. We love Lipcomb. And they're going to face Michigan State, who beat Marquette. Okay? And then we have Florida beating Oklahoma. I got to show them. And then another upset, Grand Canyon. Too big for Memphis. And then Drake beats TT. Okay? TT. Texas Tech loses to Drake because Drake is once again fighting Carlton Lamar. And they will go up against St. John's, who beat Arkansas because Catholics over Huckabee. I have Duke beating Baylor because even though they had a fake sexual assault scandal, unlike Baylor, they did call the stripper the N-word. And I thought, you know what? Good enough to move on. They'll face Liberty, who beat Arizona because, of course, the strong Christian values of Jerry Falwell Jr. I have Montana beating BYU, Alabama beating Vanderbilt, Georgia beating Houston, High Point with an upset over Clemson because, for God's sakes, their name is High Point. And then Charles Xavier University uses mind control to beat Kentucky, and Tennessee beats the crap out of Utah State. Now we're at what they call the Sweet 16, okay, which was my favorite birthday party for Ivanka. We actually held it in a foreign country where the age of consent was 13, so it was totally legal. And I have Auburn finally ending the Cinderella ride of Lipcomb. Lipcomb, no, bye-bye. And then I have Grand Canyon losing to Drake because Drake is fighting the good fight. Even though he's not American, he's fighting black crip walking. So thank you, Drake. So we have Auburn versus Drake in the... Did I skip around? Who the hell cares? What? Auburn versus Drake in the Final Four, okay? How about that? A great school full of MAGA versus a great warrior fighting the blacks in America. And then in the other one, I have Duke beating Alabama. We're probably skipping matchups. Who the hell cares? Duke beats Alabama because they're Duke and they have Cooper flag. And we love the flag and we love a white flag. And I have Georgia losing to Tennessee in a strong battle of Trump states. So we have Duke versus Tennessee, Auburn versus Drake in the Final Four. And I have Drake singing, rapping, acting, and Canadianing over Auburn to make the finals. And I have Duke led by Cooper flag destroying Tennessee. So we have a matchup of Drake versus Duke. They almost sound like they're related. Hello, Drake. Hello, Duke. Like they could be brothers. And in a very big upset that I know nobody's going to have. I love Duke. I love Cooper flag. We salute the flag. I might dry hump Cooper flag when I see him because I'll mistake him for a regular American flag. But in a big upset, and maybe Canada should say thank you for this, I have Drake defeating Duke in the finals. Take that, Carlton Lamar. You're not like us. That's right, you're not like us. And I'd like you to go to the back of the bus. How about that for MAGA bar? We call that MAGA bars, okay? They're both rap and racist. So congratulations, Drake. You beat Duke. You're the champion. Bye-bye.